I'm
tired of watching.
Yeah, you're tired just watching. I'm like, I am worn out.
Oh God,
I have like headaches and stuff.
Yeah, I couldn't. I was losing it there. I had to go splash some cold water on my face during the PC game show. I literally took the shot of tequila because it's an upper. That's why I actually just did that for real.
It's gonna wake you up. Exactly. Okay.
I hope so.
All right.
Yeah. All right.
Test.
Ready to
Check.
do a podcast?
All right.
Yeah. We'll just do a podcast.
Be easy.
Have fun.
Yeah, thanks,
thank
Christian.
you. Be the easiest thing I do today. Stream element. There we go.
All right. People can hear us now. We're live. They can't see us because I can't even see you.
I haven't turned my video on is why. That would be why. Oh my God, I open up Twitter and I just see those fucking characters from that fucking Final Fantasy Origin. And
Save
I'm
it for
so
the show.
mad again.
Save it for the show.
I'm so mad. I know. That. What? Okay. Yes, we're gonna tweet that we're going live now.
Yes, that's a good point. We should do that. Hang on.
Oh my God. Oh, what was I gonna say? I was gonna say this before we went live. I'm gonna message you something. You need to actually read it.
Okay. I'm mad. All right, where do I read messages from Mike Minotti even?
If only we had an app that we use, Jeff, to message each other on work.
Here it says I'm
Instead,
in Discord.
I got to go on Twitter to get a hold of you. That doesn't work sometimes. I can't text you. Somehow texting you is the worst. That is the least reliable way of getting a hold of you.
I didn't even know where my phone was for like most of this day. I was getting my kid like ready so I could come down here and do the podcast.
It's the kid.
Yeah. And I literally was telling her, like, I'm like, hey, I'm like more tired than during a normal E3. And I'm like, I think this might be your fault. And she's like, yeah, probably. And she's 4.
Well, at least she knows. She understands.
She understands. Okay, let me read what words you're saying here.
Read my words. I had to get the slightly weaker beer. If I got the IPA, I might not make it. Man, I was feeling so good at their Xbox. Got some dead air here. Let me work on this a little bit. Ooh, pretty good, Mikey. Pretty good. Look at how uninterrupted that was.
We can see us now. Okay. All right. Cool.
Yeah, I know.
All right. We got people watching. If you're watching now, hit the like button. I suppose is what it's called. I always just say the thumbs up, and I think it makes me sound like an old man, but it is a thumbs up. To be fair, in my defense,
I say thumbs up, but I guess I'm old too now.
Yeah. So hit that like button, and then we're gonna get started. We're gonna do this. If anyone's also watching Future, if you want to like tell us in chat if anything cool happens,
if something crazy happens, I don't have another conference in me. I don't. I'm sorry.
Yep.
Not brought today.
And I think it's the same thing that just happened with the PC gaming show, where like PC gamers putting that on. If someone's gonna have a story about these games, they're just gonna go to PC Gamer for it, and then Future is Future Publishing, so they're like Games Radar is gonna have it or whatever. So
Georgie's super chat here is interesting. I'm excited to ask you this one because I think it's gonna be an interesting thing for us to talk about.
Let's get started then.
Yeah, let's get started.
Let me see what our levels look really good.
They look fantastic.
They look fantastic. I think
the best they've ever been.
Maybe the best they have ever been. I need to double check one thing. Let's see here. Let's turn this. No, wait. No, I don't need to do that because we're not doing the music because this is just an E3 special. then I just got to remember to hit record, and I could do that now. All right, Mike, you ready?
Yes.
Okay. 5, 4. It's the internet. You're busy. Let's do this. I'm Jeff Grubb from GamesBeat.com. With me is
Mike Minotti.
We're going to react to another day of E3 press conferences, media briefings, whatever you're going to call them. I am feeling it, Mike, and by it, I mean tired. I am run down.
It's E3 tired. Even
Yes.
without having to walk in the LA heat to that conference center and back to our room, I'm still feeling EA tired.
And I'm realizing
it's E3 tired, whatever the hell it is.
It's not even, it must not be E3. I think it's the work, Mike. I think it is mentally exhausting to look at a screen, try to pay really close enough attention to it that you're taking mental notes, and you're also paying attention to Slack and social media and all these other things at the same time. I think that stuff's actually just exhausting. Is what I'm realizing.
E3 brain's the worst. I remember the worst E3 brain I ever had was at the end of the last day of E3 one time.
I got a picture of you.
The last thing I had was an interview with Tim Schafer. It was the year that they got bought. And I had, Tim Schafer, and I love, Grim Fandango was one of my favorite games ever. I was looking forward to this interview. I talked to him before. I got in that room. I had, nothing for him. I think he was pretty tired, too. It was the worst interview of my career. I was just dead. I talked to him for, 10 minutes awkwardly. It's just well, that's all I got. I'll see you later. He's like, bye.
Yeah, Google Photos gave me oh, here's some memories from years ago, and it's you just with your head in your hand, and you're just at the Yard House or whatever, and you're just you're over it.
I'm yeah, we used to go to that place at LA Live that had 50 beers on tap.
Yes,
and I needed all 50 of them.
Yeah, okay. I was trying to find the picture, but your face isn't in it, so Google Photos doesn't know how to find it for me. All right. Mike, a lot is happening. This was one of the big days for E3. If nothing else, it felt like E3 today. It felt like we were at the show and there was stuff happening, and it was weird. It's weird that we are watching all that stuff, and now I'm not rushing to appointments. That's how much E3 it felt like. It started today with Xbox, and I guess should we just start there, or are there any super chats we should get to before we start getting to the content? Anything that's super relevant that you wanted to touch on first?
Well, gosh, there's one. The one I thought was interesting because it's related, but it's related to Xbox, and it's related about Halo. Maybe we can just start talking about Halo first, if you're down for that. Yes, I'm down for that.
So Xbox opened the show, and I mean, really, the Washington Post opened the show today. Right before, an hour before the Xbox show started, I saw someone post, I can't remember who it was like, hey, the trailer is live on the Washington Post website. It's coming out November 11th, 2022. And then I'm so I rushed to go watch it and recorded it, but I don't think they ever even took it down, because I think at a certain point they're well, it's out there. So Starfield leaked just a little bit early, and it looks like Starfield. It looks kind of like I was expecting, a space exploration game. I thought it looked really good.
Yeah, I think I said on the show before that I wanted it to be more hard sci-fi, more NASA, and less fantasy sci-fi, like Star Wars or Mass Effect even. So I'm pretty happy that seems to be what we're getting. And now they have a game for next holiday. Isn't it weird that Starfield has a pretty exact date, but Halo doesn't?
Yeah.
And you expected that. You were saying that was going to happen, and yeah, it did.
Yep.
By the way, you were right on everything, right? On all accounts. I think you thought that Omen was going to be 2023, and it's 2022. So small things that.
That's the thing. Right. I think I just assumed that. No, I never heard that. I heard a bunch of other games for 2023, and I don't think I ever got a date for Omen. And the reason I didn't hear it for 2023 now,
Redfall?
Yeah, Redfall, right? And
I think calling it Redfall. Yeah.
So, and the reason I didn't hear a date for Redfall is because it was 2022. I was here's all the stuff coming out in 2023. I'm well, Omen's not there, but Omen's probably not 2024 if they're showing it now. So it's 2023. But no, it's earlier than that. So that's pretty cool. We'll get into that. We'll get into everything here. We like I said, we are E3 brain fried, so we're just gonna get to this stuff as we get to it. It's gonna be messy, everybody, so bear with us. And if you have specific questions, honestly, that's only gonna help us. It's only gonna help us. So you can send in those super chats, and if you're in the Discord, go in the questions, like the podcast producers channel. send in a question there, and we'll try to answer those there as well. Okay, then, so Starfield then. Yeah, you're right. It looked very much like hard sci-fi. They said, I think, that some of the stuff was running in engine. I guess I didn't know for sure, but either way, it looked really good. But it was mostly still a like a presentation trailer.
Yeah.
Even it's not exactly CG. It is something that
it was a flavor trailer, right?
Pre-rendered,
We're
right?
getting the flavor of that game. We're not like really understand. We didn't get 20 minutes of it like Guardians of the Galaxy.
Mm-hmm. Real quick, Pablo Cross Flores says, what about Athens? That's Hades. It was Hades, because Athens was always in a chart of like stuff coming to Game Pass, and we were just too stupid to put two and two together.
No, wait, no, we brought up Hades as a possibility. I forget if we did it on the show or if we did it offline.
Okay.
I think we both thought, like, why would that be such a secret on this list?
Yeah.
Hades? Like, obviously that's a deal. I didn't think it would be the hugest deal ever. God.
Yeah.
People. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm wearing a PlayStation shirt. People, look, I don't have I'm doing laundry now. I've been very busy. I'm doing this because we're gonna say so many nice things about Microsoft. I have to balance it out. Wait till you see my shirt for tomorrow, though. I got a nice surprise for everyone.
I'm excited.
Yeah, so I look forward to.
So yes, Hades was Athens, and I really should have known, but I think we probably did speculate on that, but I really should have just known that's what it was, because of course it was. But yeah, I thought Starfield looked really good. I don't think that the leak hurt it in any way, especially because that's what opened the show. When Xbox kicked off, they kicked off with Starfield, and Todd Howard came right out and started talking about it and set it up, and it looked, I don't know, it looked really good to me.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I'm sure it'll be a hit. I love imagining how this leaked again. I in my mind, there was somebody who gave this to some video guy at Washington Post who knows nothing about what a Starfield is. And it was like, this video has to go live at this time. And then the guy was like, what's this? Starfield? I'll just put it live now. Who cares?
Right. Well, you got to, like, Washington Post probably gets it because they're like the hometown paper for Bethesda, right? Like, Bethesda right down the street from DC. Like that, like everyone who works at Bethesda is like a huge fan of DC sports teams. They're probably like, yeah, Washington Post, we're gonna give them early so they can have that stuff up ready to go so that we could see it on our favorite newspaper's website. And then their favorite newspaper totally does them dirty. But again, I don't think it hurt them in any way.
No, I mean, everyone knew it was gonna be there, really, right?
Yes, I think so.
No one was too surprised. I was surprised it was first. I thought maybe that would have been a last thing. It wasn't Gene Park's fault either. Launcher is usually kind of separate from Washington Post main. Like, it was weird with Ratchet and Clank because Gene reviewed Ratchet and Clank for the launcher and gave it a 10 out of 10 or whatever. And then Washington Post itself did a review.
Yep.
That was like 7 out of 10. Yeah. And everyone was confused.
Yeah, that is confusing, but I mean, yeah, Gene Park is like running his own thing there with Launcher for sure. So, yes, that's pretty wild. Okay, so we had Starfield, and I guess do we have any questions about Starfield that you've seen? Anything you want to touch on, or should we move on to what's next?
I don't think anybody. I mean, what's there to ask, really? Like,
you're right.
We obviously don't know too much. We know when it's coming out, so there's that. We have some Halo questions though. Basically, Georgie wants to know, Jeff, Halo looked awesome. Why did you fearmonger? Why did you monger fiercer? But here's the weird thing, is that everyone seemed really happy with what they showed with Halo. But I think me and you both feel the same way. Like, we watch the same thing, and we're both like, yeah, I guess that's Halo. Is this what the Halo fans want? We don't really know.
We don't know. I think
turns out it is.
I think I said that before. I said that before. Like, I'm trying to figure it out because, and I even I pinged a Halo fan last night actually, and I was like, "Hey, if this and this and this were to happen, how would you feel?" And we talked it out, and by then I was feeling a little bit more confident. But like when I was first watching it, I'm like, I think that Halo fans might be okay with this because it's Halo-ass Halo, but they're not showing the campaign. They show like a 5-second
cut, like story scene, not from it.
Yeah, they show cutscenes, and then they show like a helicopter view of the open world for 10 seconds, and that's it. And after what happened last time, where like everyone was worried about the graphics, and they showed gameplay that I thought looked okay, I thought it looked cool, and then people were just really upset about the way it looked. I'm like, okay, so everyone's going to be sort of anxious about this because they're not directly addressing what went wrong last time. Turns out, everyone just likes Halo for the multiplayer. So when they showed multiplayer that looks like Halo, everyone's like, hooray, and moved on. And I'm like, okay.
And it did look good. Like, and again,
Yes,
I don't know.
I think
I'm
it
not
looks
a giant
fun.
Halo guy. I thought that there would be people who would be nervous about them not showing the single
Same.
player open world stuff. Like, clearly they don't want that to be compared with what they showed last year yet. Which, you know, is because they're making that game. It doesn't necessarily mean anything, but I thought maybe there was a possibility that people would have thought that wasn't enough that they showed. It's not. Everyone's really happy. I'm happy with it. So I guess we're all good there.
Yeah, I think so. I think that it was just very hard to predict like how people would react. But I mean, if this is what people want, then they delivered it, and they delivered it well. I mean, the other side of that is they didn't give a release date, right? There was lots of rumors for September.
Yeah, so
I had never heard that, but yeah. Go ahead.
We had a question from somebody about that. Dovakin89 said, Halo looked good. Why is there not a release date? So why isn't there, Jeff?
Yeah, I mean, I think it just comes down to what we've said previously, where they are really just working very hard to get this game done, and they don't want to make any promises that they can't keep. They don't want to overstress the team about any one specific date. They didn't want the team, like the reason there wasn't more campaign stuff in this event was because they didn't want to peel people off to work on E3 instead of working on the game itself. Everyone's just heads down trying to get it finished. And so I think anything that sort of adds on top of that in terms of stress, in terms of complexity, in terms of making one specific date, they're not doing that yet. They're not going to worry about that yet. They figured out a lot of the release calendar for Microsoft. They have Forza Horizon 5 in November. They've got some stuff coming to Game Pass a little bit before that. I think that Back 4 Blood is October. So they've got a lot happening this holiday season, or as we get into the holiday season. So when they get into like late November, which is when I think this game probably will come out, or even December, they could say, hey, we'll figure out the date when we're closer. No one's going to mind as long as we get it out this year. No one's going to be too upset with us.
Did you see what the Xbox Brazil's official Twitter accounts like had a tweet that said September 9th for a moment, or no, and then it was removed? Now I'm not sure, because I was reading it from one of the comments, and the guy literally just retracted his comment from our chat, just like the tweet. So maybe that tweet never even existed, I guess. But I saw people talking about that. Some people say maybe Xbox Brazil just confused it with Forza or something. I don't know. I don't think it has a date. Do you think they're possibly going to release the multiplayer without the single player if the single player is not ready?
No, because they did say during this presentation, Joseph Staten explicitly said, I'm sure you were working on something else at the time, but he explicitly said, we are going to release the single player and multiplayer together this holiday. So I don't think there's any chance of them separating it at this point. Nope.
All right, Jeff, do you want to tell everybody what Typhoon was finally? We saw Typhoon.
Yeah, So Typhoon, it's the thing we've been again teasing for a long time, and I think the reason is pretty obvious why you tease this, because there's not a ton to talk about, but they did show basically a table setting trailer, CGI. It's called Contraband. It's set in the 1970s. It is about you could see like the paraphernalia all over the room about what looks like heists. It's supposed to be a heist-based game.
Is this the Avalanche game?
This is the Avalanche game from the developers of Just Cause, Avalanche. It's called Contraband. But really, all that matters is that they played Steely Dan music during the trailer, which is one of the most insane things. I don't know. For some reason, I never thought I would ever see a video game trailer at E3 using Steely Dan music. But it does a really good job of bringing in those 1970s vibes. And I was excited about it because of that more than anything else. But that's a pretty big game. That's one that they have scheduled for 2023. And it's just nice to get new stuff announced always, right? Because you can always imagine the best possible scenario for that sort of thing. But obviously we didn't see gameplay, so it's also one of those ones that's easy to sort of put in the back of your mind and be like, okay, I'll wait until I really see what it looks like before I know if I'm going to get excited about it for real. But either way, it was still exciting to me just because the soundtrack that they used. Did it move the needle for you at all?
I mean, I guess. But right. I mean, yeah. It looks fine. I mean, when you describe what kind of game that is, I think Payday, and it's not like I ever went on my way to try Payday. So right. I don't know. Maybe this game will be so fun and it'll be on Game Pass and it'll get so much buzz and it'll look so good that I will be interested in it. But no, nothing crazy interesting to me right now. But how about Forza Horizon 5? That seems to be kind of the ball almost, right? Even though it's like the
Yeah.
fifth one of these, we expect these games to look good, but boy, it sure does look good, huh?
It looks really good. The franchise has always looked good. You're right. It looked great on Xbox One. I don't know if it looked this photorealistic ever, though. And I guess you don't really stop the camera and just point it at the world without the cars or the camera moving. But when they did that in this trailer, every single time it looked indistinguishable from real life. Every single time, I'm like, this time it's just a video feed of real life, and then the cars would zoom into the frame, and then the camera would start following the cars, and it was incredible. It looks that good. Also, I think the Mexico setting is very cool. I think there's a lot more character to it. Maybe that's just because I live relatively close to Mexico. There's a lot of Mexican flavor here in Colorado, and so when I see that sort of stuff, maybe it's a little bit more recognizable to me than whatever the last one was. UK.
Last one was UK, and this is a nice change of pace from that. I like the
agree.
Australia one.
Yes,
they're
me too.
always good looking, but sometimes it's just a matter of geographical taste, I suppose. So, and
Yes.
I think Mexico, especially that kind of the rainforesty part of it, like that I'm excited for.
Yep. But yeah, I mean, this game's coming out November 9th, which you would have known if you were in the Discord and looking at our Industry Secrets channel. We put that in, I put that in there last night. So, but yeah,
Whoa, what a frequent leaker you are.
Yeah, it was like, it's a hard one where I'm like, I don't want to spoil it, but also I'm like, I do know all this stuff and I'd like to get credit for that. Like, it would be nice.
Yeah, right. Well, you put yourself out there. I'm sure it was very stressful. And to be clear, you were right.
Yeah,
and there's some things you showed me. I don't think I'll ever be able to say just how well prepared we were. But man,
yeah, but it was like annoying to get yelled at about like, well, this other person says Hellblade 2 will be there, so Hellblade 2 is gonna be there, Jeff.
The Hellblade 2 thing.
I'm like, okay, all right, everybody.
You didn't think they were going to talk about acquisitions, and we almost like second guessed ourselves a little bit because there was so much buzz about it all of a sudden. And you're like, I don't think there's going to talk about.
I haven't heard anything, but yeah,
there's so much smoke here.
Yep,
that wasn't very good smoke.
Yeah, well,
that was the bad white smoke. That wasn't that like clean blue smoke that you need to really get the brisket good.
Oh, I was good. I thought we were making a Pope joke. Okay, a brisket joke.
No,
all right.
It was a brisket. It was a barbecue joke.
Okay.
Pope joke. I'm a good Catholic boy,
yeah.
Jeff. I don't joke about the Pope.
Yeah, never joke about the Pope. Of course not. You just punch him in Assassin's Creed 2, and that's it. All right.
What is those evil Renaissance popes? We don't like them.
Yeah, of course not. Forza Horizon looked good. I guess we could talk about some of the stuff that didn't show up now if we want real quick. We touched on it with Hellblade. The things that weren't there were the stuff I said wouldn't be there. Avowed,
There were
Fable.
so many people that were like, I saw it was like trending on Twitter. People wanted Fable to be there, and I just wanted to be like, Jeff's trying so hard to tell you guys Fable will not be there. Obviously, not everybody listens to our show yet.
We're getting there.
Of all the things that do get picked up here, the fact that you were saying no Fable.
Yes, it's so frustrating. It's so frustrating when the stuff that you want to like get picked up everywhere to like help people be informed doesn't get picked up. But I guess that did. There was like Gaming Leaks rumors had that, but whatever. I think that what happened was that Outer Worlds trailer had Fable vibes, and so people were like saw Outer Worlds 2 pop up, and they were making jokes very similar to what that Fable trailer did last year, and so that's why I think people thought that.
Outer Worlds is better than Fable, anyways. I thought that looked pretty cool.
That was a really well done trailer. Another CGI trailer. They fully just went out there and said, "Hey, it's a CG trailer because we don't have the game yet. We haven't even like written anything. We've just done the title."
Well, just the idea of Outer Worlds, but with Microsoft money, is enough to get me excited.
I agree. Me too. Yeah, like that first one was a really solid first game, and I imagine a sequel is just going to be better in every way. I guess to speak to that, so that's Obsidian, and the Obsidian's other game, Avowed, which we said wouldn't be there and it wasn't there. You could say, hey, why are we seeing anything from the Outer Worlds 2 before we see more from Avowed, like gameplay from Avowed? And there's a couple reasons for that. So, the one big thing is those are two separate teams. Obsidian does have a dedicated Outer Worlds team, a bigger dedicated team to Avowed, and then a small team working on Grounded.
What about? Never mind. You're right. Continue.
Okay, and then the other thing is that like when Microsoft was sort of in the planning stages for this E3, when asked what they should prioritize, they were asked to prioritize the Outer Worlds over Avowed, and then I think that got second guessed later. But at that point, it was too late to make anything for Avowed for this show. So they just kind of they kind of just missed out on that because they didn't really think through, like, hey, maybe we'll do that, and then they never like went back and made sure that they had someone working on that so that it would be ready. And that's not something you could do last minute, as I think we've said a bunch of times now. Like, this stuff takes time to prepare assets for E3.
When I was fumbling over my words a second ago, my E3 broken brain had confused Avowed with the fantasy rare game that they're making. That's basically
Everwild.
Everwild, which also didn't show up, and you said wouldn't show up.
Yeah, and that's
right.
Right. And I think that one's like the least surprising of the ones that didn't show up, because everyone is well aware of the matter of public record that the creative director left, and it seemed like it got rebooted, and I and a bunch of other people have confirmed it did get rebooted. So don't expect that until at least 2023.
What do you think the reboot looks like? Because before we were all just like, oh, it's Sea of Thieves, but like fantasy. You think it's going to be very different from that?
I think they're still trying to figure out what it's going to look like. I think that's what the problem is.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's going to be the issue with that game.
Hey, Disney was there, like you said. They showed up.
Yeah, that was people did not get mad. I think hopefully that leaked.
I basically just straight up told them without your permission yesterday that it was Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, it was fine.
I had to leak something, Jeff. No one cared when I leaked something. No one takes me seriously. But yeah, it's Pirates of the Caribbean. Which, I mean, hey, what else could be better for that game? I guess, that's the biggest pirate franchise there is, right?
You're not wrong about that. Yeah. Hang on, I lost the chat. I think that it's the thing about this show was, even when it was something that I wasn't necessarily interested in, like a Pirates in the Caribbean crossover with Sea of Thieves, they still did it with enough pace and enough panache. They presented it well that I was entertained, and I was not worried that this was going to be like 20 minutes of my life being wasted. They told you the big thing, they said what it was, and then they moved on to the next thing pretty quickly. So it was overall like a good show, kind of no matter what, even when they were showing me games I didn't necessarily care about.
Right, even when it was stuff like, oh my god, we're seeing Far Cry 6 for the 4th time this weekend. Like, it was still breezy and slightly entertaining. Mm-hmm. It was all very well paced. And then we closed with a big new game, Redfall, previously known as Project Omen, to us at least. Mm-hmm. This didn't do anything for me specifically. It was a very long CG trailer for what basically looks like another Left 4 Dead kind of thing. And we're getting a lot of those Left 4 Dead style games, aren't we?
Yeah, I think they made some promises about this game that it's like open world and there's action RPG elements.
The description of it made it sound more like single player immersive sim with multiplayer options. Right. But like, if you hadn't told me that and you showed me that trailer, yes, I would say, oh, Left 4 Dead with vampires. And made by Arcane with like the powers. And I will 100% agree with you. The trailer did nothing for me as well. I think that the premise sounds cool. Arcane Austin working on a big game like that sounds cool. Arcane Austin, even when I don't jive with Prey, I could still, like, as I'm playing it, respect that it's like a very well-made game. And as I've gone back to it, actually, I got more into it. So it's like, this is clearly a studio that has a lot of talent, and it's cool to see them like stretching their wings and trying something new and doing like a big vampire action RPG is like, yeah, that's just a good idea. We should get more of those. But you're right that the presentation made it seem like another Left 4 Dead, and we've got a bunch of those now. We've got a bunch of those, not just coming to Xbox, but coming to Xbox Game Pass. Like, there's 2 of them at least, and the Anacrusis and Back 4 Blood. So, yeah, that's kind of becoming a crowded genre. I'm not actually like a big Left 4 Dead guy, anyways. Like, even those original ones. So all of these things, Anacrusis and Back 4 Blood, and whatever. But even like if I wasn't thinking about Left 4 Dead or comparing it to that, just the kind of like, oh, they've got jokes, right? Everyone's wacky and making quips. Not my thing necessarily. We'll Guardians of the Galaxy kind of feeling that a little bit there too. Also, like because you told me about this and we were thinking like, oh, is this kind of like going to be like a Soul Reaver-ish thing? And it's not that vibe at all. It's definitely a irreverent, modern, safe movie humor vibe is what I'm getting from it. I don't mean to be ducking on this game as much as I am. We don't know. We just don't know. It's just not my thing. It's just not my thing.
Yeah, and we're gonna have to.
It's not my thing. I don't really know. It was. Right. You have to. No matter what. We all. I think most of us don't love CG trailers, and that was a very long CG trailer, and it closed out the show. So I didn't love that. But aside from that, I thought it was a much better show than I was expecting, to be honest. Even though we knew everything that was going to be there, it was just kind of all presented very well.
Yeah, I think that's the big takeaway for me from the show is that even though we did know almost every single big thing that was going to be in there, and then even most of the little stuff as well, and all the little tidbits of news, the way that they showed it was like exactly what we always talk about when we say half of our job during E3 is like assessing production quality of like stage shows, which is we write about games and how good are games, and then during E3 we also write about is this show that I'm watching with a bunch of commercials any good? And this was a really good one, and honestly, by far the best one this E3 so far, without even like not even really close. And then maybe the best Xbox E3 show ever. I think that might be kind of easy as well.
Certainly in recent memory.
Yes, yes, definitely the best one since the beginning of the Xbox One generation. So. You kind of can't take that away from this is what we ask for. Give us reasons to be excited. We are all coming to pay attention to you to get excited about video games. At least meet us that halfway on that bargain. And then we'll see some of these games that we don't know about. Once they come out or once they get closer, we'll let you know if we're actually really excited about them, but at least just present them in a cool way. And they did that with every single thing, and it was really well done.
Yeah. Ooh, Indiana Jones was another one. Some people were saying that you were like, no, and you were right again, sir.
Yeah, I mean, you were like, when that came up yesterday, you were like, what are they going to do? Just another teaser trailer that like they already did one just with the whip like a month ago. So
yeah, not a month ago. I
don't remember.
What was that?
God, I don't remember.
Time is relative.
Time doesn't mean anything.
It was
anymore.
it was a great show from Microsoft. I think everyone's pretty happy with that. Even though our buddy George Forbes just says I can't say anything positive about Xbox. I think my PlayStation shirt's really throwing him off today. I think he's just
sorry, George.
seething. I'm sorry, George Foreman. He said something nice about us earlier too. I thought we won him over finally, but I don't know. He's not just repeating hashtag Sony bias.
That's nice. So that's cool.
He's kind of getting on board a little
bit. If he's engaged,
we'll
that's all I want is to get him engaged. I just want George engaged. That's what's important to me here.
Yeah, as long as George is having fun, if he has to have fun by thinking I'm a shill, that's all right.
That's all right with us. Real quick, I want to talk about what's coming to Game Pass because they of course that was their big thing, and I think that the worry that I had for Xbox in terms of like will people be okay with the show is it going to feel like there's going to be enough games coming? And I think with Game Pass and something like Redfall coming in summer 2022 and showing off Starfield, they're in a pretty good situation. But the Game Pass stuff is specifically is very good. So June 13th today, Yakuza Like a Dragon is now in Game Pass. That's very cool. I think this is Dungeons and Dragons Dark Alliance. The thumbnail is very small. That's June 22nd. That's coming. July 20th.
Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance, right?
That you're
Which
probably
is
right.
Also D&D.
Right.
We're not nerds.
If it was Lord of the Rings, you would just be going. You would spouting off.
If it was Lord of the Rings or Final Fantasy or Star Trek, I'd know.
Well, at least there's nothing Final Fantasy to talk about today. July 29th, The Ascent. August 13th, Hades. August 19th, 12 Minutes. That really cool looking indie game. September 17th, Origami 2. Something that I have no idea if that looks interesting. But then September 23rd, Sable. That game that looks fantastic.
Sable looks great.
And then the Anacrusis, one of those Left 4 Deads, is fall 2021. Scorn is fall. Back for Blood is October 12th. Shredders is in December. Among Us is in 2021. Hello Neighbor 2 is 2021. The Gunk is 2021, which we didn't see, but man, I hope we get that soon. And then I think these are the first party games. July 27th is Flight Simulator for consoles. August 25th is Psychonauts 2. October 28th, Age of Empires 4.
Psychonauts 2 looks good, huh?
Yeah, I
think I need to play the first one again. Now that
I'm going to do the same thing.
So I'm ready.
I think the big thing about Psychonauts 2 is like I bet this is going to be a really solid like platformer, like just a technical platformer where that stuff is going to be really fun. There's no way it's going to look as good as Ratchet. No one ever expected that. That was never going to happen. There was no world where that was going to happen. But
it looks like it's definitely hitting out of its league though. Because this was for a long time a small game that was basically Kickstarted. It was on the Fig, I know.
Yeah.
But I mean, compared to what like Double Fine games haven't been big games for a long time. Like their last real like full on like big release was the one with Jack Black. Why am I blanking on that name?
Brutal Legend.
Right. It's just that it's been a lot more indie stuff. So This is pretty impressive stuff from them.
Yeah, and then Forza Horizon 5 on November 9th, and then holiday 2021 is Halo Infinite. And it was funny, as soon as the first one of these, I think it was Back for Blood, was announced early in the show, and I just posted a story saying Back for Blood and a bunch of other games are going to highlight the release schedule for Game Pass this year, and I included Forza Horizon in that, and like people are like, they haven't even announced this, so how is this in your story? I'm like, don't worry, just give it a a little bit of time.
Nice, Jeff. Very well done.
Hey,
that's like
I'm gonna take my victory lap. All right,
S in the back. All right.
Yeah. All right. So I think it's probably time that we talk about your bullshit, Mike.
My bullshit. It's not my bullshit. Square Enix. Wow. Woof. Woof. Gosh, have you ever just felt bad about an entire company after a show before? Like, are they going to be okay? Maybe Square Enix is going to be for sale in a couple years. I'm probably overreacting, but they did release Ball and Wonderworld this year. So
people say like, Marvel's Avengers comes out and it underperforms, and that's why Square Enix is in such dire straits. But I really think that there is something amiss with the management there when we get a show like this. Yeah, it's a leadership problem.
There's somebody who doesn't understand something. So, okay, so we opened with Guardians of the Galaxy. Let's talk about that, because they showed a lot of that. That had more like consecutive screen time than any other show at E3 this year. And
my God,
it looks fine. It did not deserve that much attention. I mean, it looks so much like a PlayStation 4 game, which I'm shocked that we're already saying that like derisively, but there it is. That looks like a PlayStation 4 game.
Yes, it does. Yeah,
it's fine.
I think I hate the way it looks. No, I don't.
Wrong with it.
I think it's bad, actually. No, I think it looks bad. I'm gonna say it. I think it looks bad, Mike. I don't like looking at it. It's not just the character models. It's not just the art. The animation is really stiff and ugly. It looks cheap. It looks like a cheap game, and I don't understand. It feels like the kind of game you make when you're trying to save money because you're paying millions of dollars to Disney for a license. That's what it feels like, and it's just a bummer. Because I really like Guardians of the Galaxy a lot, and I understand and I appreciate that it is difficult to capture the magic of these movies when you don't have the movie license, and you have to do something different. And then you're also stuck in this world where you're like, you still want to evoke the movies. Like, he's gonna have a Walkman, and you are gonna do pop music, needle drops and stuff, and it's just like, this stuff's kind of, it sucks actually. I honestly just make him, it's like, it feels like a bummer. I don't know.
I don't feel as negative as you do, but I don't feel positive about it.
Yeah, I think
some people in chat are mad at us. Some people thought this looks cool. Look, that's fine, but
I think there's a chance that it's going to be still a fine video game once it comes out, and once I get my hands on it, almost what always happens is a lot of these things I noticed in a trailer sort of disappear, and I stop noticing them because once it all coalesces into a gameplay experience, you can see how it gets stitched together. Maybe some people are just better at jumping to that conclusion than I am, and I understand that. But for me, watching that trailer when I'm working and I'm just trying to see if this game is going to be interesting to me, what I mostly see is something that looks pretty cheap, and it bummed me out. So yeah, that's my rant, and I don't think it's going to be the most intense rant we're going to get today.
Oh my God. Are we ready to talk about what even the name is kind of weird? Final Fantasy Pixel Remaster? What the hell is it called?
I don't give a shit, because it's just all bad. It was all bad. It was bad.
Final Fantasy Pixel shit. So like, well, you told me they're gonna have a Final Fantasy 1 through 6 collection at E3. I was like, hot damn, let's go. That sounds fantastic. So here comes the trailer, and it's like a 5-second thing of some screenshots floating by. I was like, okay, yeah, those are those games. It's happening. And then it's just that, and then they show the splash screen. Do you have the splash screen? I told you to get it ready. Did you get it ready? Because this is the most atrocious looking splash screen for a game that I have ever seen.
It just says Steam and mobile in Arial font or whatever, Times New Roman. Not even like the Steam logo, Mike. What is this?
What? So there's so many things that upset me. Like the font they chose for Pixel Remaster is something they got off of 1001freefonts.com. And like, it doesn't eat, like there's no actual other work done to that. The logos for each Final Fantasy game like are compressed. Like the guy literally in Photoshop just like accidentally had keep hard edges on still and just like shrunk them. And it's just a pure black background. How is this only coming to Steam and mobile? How is it only coming to? And here's what really kicked me in the nuts. It's not a collection. It's a series of just individual releases. They do not make that clear in this. I had to like read their tweet later. I already published a story about it saying it was a collection, so I felt like a jackass. So I had to go and fix that. They're just going to release these things on Steam and mobile, and they're not. So it's like, okay, well at least they're just like really faithful ports, and that's nice. They're not. They're redoing the pixel art. It's not 1-to-1. It's better than that awful blurry shit we got before. But it's like different for no reason. And then like, okay, but is it like based off the Game Boy Advance version? We don't know. They won't say anything. We have no idea. They showed 20 minutes of goddamn Guardians of the Galaxy, and we got literally, it had to be 10 seconds. And that trailer had to be 10 seconds long for this, and we know nothing. We don't know when it's coming. It's coming soon. How is it not coming to consoles? I'm furious. I'm so mad. I'm so baffled by this because it should have been a very good thing, and it just makes me feel terrible. It makes me feel so bad, Jeff.
So a friend asked me. We were talking about this like a week ago, and he was like, "Oh, is this real?" I'm like, "I think it's real." And the question is going to be, is Square Enix going to find a way to fuck it up? And then a couple days later, he comes back. He's like, "Oh, I think it's real, and I've heard it looks good." And I'm like, oh, okay, I haven't heard one way or the other, so that's great. And then we get there, and it's like it's emphasized because you do come off of 25 minutes of Guardians of the Galaxy, and then it is 15 seconds at most of this thing, and it's so disorienting. It is so confusing. It is, wait, did that really just happen? Like, can we get some details? What's happening? They're already on to the next game. Final Fantasy's pretty much done until the end, where they show another real winner, a real winner,
maybe even a bigger dumpster fire.
Yeah, maybe. Oh my god. Well, no, I was gonna like say the Kaz Hirai joke that was on Twitter, but we'll just save it till then. It's nice. This game thing, or this collection, or not even a collection, this series of re-releases is it's baffling. I really, it feels like they just slapped it together last minute. I don't even understand why they would do it like this. Why even put it in E3?
Afterwards, there's like the trailer for the Legend of Mana remake that's actually being done with care and attention. For Legend of Mana, the PlayStation 1 one that people didn't like very much. And I know some people like it, but you know what? It's not Final Fantasy 6. For God's sakes. I just don't get it. Like Final Fantasy 6, man, if that's not a game that deserves some reverence from your company, like, well, you know, all the other ones too, but let's just focus on Final Fantasy 6. You cannot buy a good version of that game right now. You really can't. The Super Nintendo version was flawed, and I think it worked back then. It's still great. It has translation issues. It has bugs. The Game Boy Advance port fixed all of that, but the visual and audio is worse because it's on the Game Boy Advance. So that was, 15 years ago or more? So you think, okay, well, at some point, they're just going to take, like, you know, the parts of this one, the parts of that one, and mash them together. Instead, we got the goddamn asswipe PC mobile port version. And now it's like a baby step. Oh, well, it's better than that. Great. Fantastic. It's slightly better. That's what 10 years of waiting got us. And we're probably going to pay $20 for it individually.
On your iPhone.
Why is it even coming out on mobile?
I don't know.
Why is it even? I think in Japan people do like still play Final Fantasy,
of course, but there's no reason it doesn't also. Why doesn't it also come to Switch? It doesn't make any sense. Okay, other stuff did get announced, the Square Enix thing, but it was like a parade of sort of like, wait, what are they doing? I guess the next big one is Babylon's Fall. I had to get up and go change my baby's diaper during this, and I come back and people are like in our Discord, we're like, oh no, and I'm like, what's happening? Like, it had moved on to another game, and I'm like, it was like it moved on to that True Colors Life is Strange game, and I'm like, oh, I'm like, oh, whatever. I think so. I don't know.
You just said the right name. I thought you said the wrong name, but I guess that's actually right, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, but I'm like, what's oh no, and then I worked backwards and like, oh no, they were knowing because Babylon's Fall, a platinum game that was announced like 2 years ago, supposed to be like this cool action, character action game with like cool platinum combat, is being turned into a live service game. I don't even know how they presented it. I never went back and watched it. So I'm like, I don't know how they conveyed that information to people. I'm like trying to imagine what it even would be like. Do you just say on the E3 stream, and now we're making it a live service game? Is that what they said?
Get something you don't want. I think I was angry tweeting about Final Fantasy VI at this point. Still, when I looked, it didn't look good. It looked like Godfall. Really, it looked like 4-player Godfall.
Yep, it was. That is another travesty. But I guess what I really want to talk about is that other Final Fantasy game, Final Fantasy Origin.
Final Fantasy Origin. What is not Trouble in Paradise? Paradise.
Stranger in Paradise.
Stranger of Paradise, I believe.
Oof. Okay. So this, what I understand from this is that chaos exists and someone's gonna kill it.
Wow. Is this my least favorite trailer for a game ever?
Maybe it felt poorly translated, felt poorly voice acted. It looked like a PS3 game.
Voice acted. It looked yes. I said Guardians of the Galaxy like a PlayStation 4 game. This looks like a PlayStation 3 game.
There were like no textures. The textures were all flat. It's confused. Like there's like a beta out now and it's corrupted. You can't even go play it. Like you can download it.
To download it. The beta doesn't work.
Yep, and then so Kaz Hirai, CEO, a parody Twitter account, was like, "We apologize that the game doesn't work, but PS5 doesn't have backwards compatibility with PS3 games," which is like, I'm like, okay, that is murder right there. But yeah,
how does this happen? I can't believe that there's a demo, by the way, because it's like maybe this game is like years away or something.
Right.
Like, no, you can play it now.
So yeah, like that's like. You made a point, like maybe they spent all of their money making Final Fantasy VII Remake look good, and now they're trying to do get by being a little cheaper with some of these other games. And I don't know, there's something to that, maybe. Yeah, because none of these things nothing they showed looked great. But I guess it could go back to those management issues where someone's just making bad calls after bad call. And
we still need to talk about how much I hate Origin, because God, that game is just even if like the fidelity wasn't bad. The character designs anger me so much. It's like that bullshit. Like, here's a guy in like medieval knight armor next to a guy wearing like a T-shirt from Hollister, and I don't know. It's supposedly a prequel to Final Fantasy 1. That's why it's called Final Fantasy Origin. That's why Garland is there. Yep. Final Fantasy 1, like super classic medieval fantasy. Why doesn't it just look like that? That would be nice.
It was Elden Ring did not do it any favors. Elden Ring, that trailer looks fantastic. The art design, every single character you saw in the Elden Ring trailer, you're like, I want to look at that longer because there's so much cool stuff going on there. And here it's like these very simple, weird designs in this drab setting where like
super drab. Like again, that's another Xbox 360 era thing. Just like it's such a and like the fact that the way they were talking, the anger, it was such a Japanese developers trying to be edgy in the 2000s because they think that's what Westerners want, and it was awful.
Barrett Courtney, shout out Barrett in the chat's like, why is the main dude just a normal ass dude? Like, yeah,
why is he a dude? Why is he just a dude?
Dude.
I mean, they had to know that guy was saying the word chaos too much in that trailer. Like a group of people had to make that trailer.
He said chaos too many times. He said chaos too many times.
20 times. Like
he said it too many times.
As a drinking game.
And now
each time he's doing like a fake "I'm mad" voice. Like that's the direction for the voice actor. It was so rough. I am baffled. That was like made. I don't know.
GB Cran's like, I didn't like the jokey sidekick. The tone was so jarring. I thought like. You know what happened like during E3, like you got a bunch of videos open and there's one in the background open up because you're watching another trailer for a story you're writing about it. And I thought that's what was happening because the sidekick character's voice was so incongruent with what was happening elsewhere in the trailer that I'm like, this can't be what this person sounds like. This is so confusing.
Well, I kind of talked yesterday about like anime voice acting, and this was like that in the worst possible. Where people,
next to a guy who is just a dude. Just a dude being just bros being dudes, yelling
about how he needs to murder chaos and he hates chaos and he's going to kill chaos and he just wants to stop chaos. And
wait, no, I have to read this email.
I was going to say too. I was going to actually bring it up immediately too. We have to read this super chat. Right, would you like to do the honors, sir?
Yeah, let me. Just, you know what? I was like, how do I find it? I'm just going to search for the word chaos. Search for the word chaos.
We're talking about different super chats apparently. I wanted to read this one by Raymond Mogos.
Okay.
Who said, who said, "Are we sure Yuji Naka was the problem and not Square?" And you know what, Raymond?
Very good point.
I forgive Yuji Naka of his
We
sins.
have absolved Yuji Naka, everybody. Congratulations.
Yes.
We did it. This is a Square Enix problem. Absolutely.
From now on, if you didn't work on Final Fantasy 14 or Final Fantasy 7 Remake and you work at Square, I am suspect of you at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, this is a company that did release The Quiet Man and did release that weird Metal Gear Solid ripoff that was just a complete joke, almost a parody of itself. And then, yeah, so there's something else happening at Square. Okay, no, I needed to read this email, which came to our tips line, and it says, "Hi, I just saw your quick blurb about Stranger of Paradise, and it seems a huge factor was skipped over. Yes, Garland was featured. However, most people are skipping over the fact that the big boss of Final Fantasy 1 was Chaos." And okay, that's into the email. Mike, I didn't read your story. I was busy. How can a person send an email thinking we do not know that Chaos is the big enemy of Final Fantasy 1 after how many times they said Chaos in that trailer? This broke my brain earlier today when I read this email.
I knew Chaos was the bad guy of Final Fantasy 1 before this. Okay, I am a Final Fantasy nerd.
Yeah.
I can tell you all about how he then became the bad guy in the Dissidia games and all that stuff. Like, look, not an important point at this juncture.
You're skipping over it, and I think it's an important point you should bring up in your story that Chaos is the enemy.
Look, if I wasn't so tired, maybe I would have. Just you know what? At least we got a nice email from someone. At least it wasn't calling me a shitlord or something.
Yeah,
so
fair enough.
Thanks for your feedback there. Next time I'll keep that in mind.
All right, let me see if there's any Final Fantasy questions from the Discord. All right, nothing yet. Do we have any other super chats about it that we should touch on, or should we move on?
So Gigamir just said, "Do you know how involved Team Ninja is with Origin? Are the Neo devs really involved on this? Is this the Dissidia people?" So I haven't played Neo, but people like Neo.
Right.
And Dissidia was awful. So I almost want to be like, maybe this is the Dissidia people. I don't know. And then Stephen Hart even said, apparently Final Fantasy Kill Chaos, that's his name for it, Final Fantasy Kill Chaos, is being done by the guy who headed up Final Fantasy 13. So yeah, I'm a bit of a Final Fantasy 13 defender, but also kind of clearly the worst one in recent memory. Sure. Like, I'd rather play Final Fantasy 12 or 15 or 14 over Final Fantasy 13. So yeah, so you know, the Final Fantasy 1 through 6 thing, real baffling. But this Chaos game, Origin, I don't. Maybe we're being too harsh. I don't know. Look, I was hoping to play the demo before we went live, so I'd have a better opinion of it. But the demo don't work. So, how much worse does it have to get before they just cancel this game?
I don't know. Yeah, you got to wonder, like, what is the conversation back in like Tokyo right now for this? Like is anyone getting like slapped on the back right now, or is it just, or do they not know like how much of a disaster it is?
I think
there's a real chance that they don't know that this is a disaster, and they'll be surprised if they get like a report back saying, "Oh, social media was like kind of being pretty harsh on this game," and they'd be like, "What? What are you talking about?" I think there's a chance of that.
What guy's mad? We made him mad. Like they're like in the West.
Yeah, he wanted to kill Chaos. People love that shit. Yeah, no, it was okay. We should probably get to some super chats.
Yeah, we have a lot of other super chats we should get to, and I'm just going to go back to the bottom here.
Yes, let's do that. Real quick, though, if you're watching live right now on YouTube, hi, thank you so much. We've got a pretty big audience. If you want to hit the thumbs up, the like button, that would really help people find the show while we're live. It helps a lot then also once we go to VOD. But yeah, we're going to answer the super chats now, as well as the questions from the Discord, and we're going to start with Mike.
Yes, so Brett Bingham said, "How's it going, Jeff and Mike?" Bad. Anyways, I think Xbox still has a lot more to show, but I suspect they are waiting for the right time and audience. TGS 2021? When is TGS? Because that's usually just late summer. I don't think they're going to have anything super crazy to show by then, do you?
I think there's a chance that if the Kojima deal is done by then, that we might hear about it at Tokyo Game Show, but I think it's much more likely we'll hear about it at the Game Awards. So, so yeah, maybe, but I don't know. I wouldn't bet anything on anything for Tokyo Game Show. A lot more stuff for the Game Awards. I think we'll see Hellblade 2 gameplay at the Game Awards.
Dovakian89, guys, talk about the 17th extended show now. I think he means Microsoft's doing an extended deep dive thing, and
yes,
I know we think maybe that's where we're going to see something on Hellblade 2.
A vid doc, yeah. We'll see a making of video, behind the scenes documentary of developers working on it. I don't think we're going to see any new footage, no new gameplay or anything like that. It's just too early. They're not ready to show that stuff. But yeah, this is being hosted by Paris Lilly, who does a bunch of great stuff all over the internet. But he's on Kind of Funny a lot, and so tune in for that. I think it's on the 17th. They said, and I do believe that is where we'll see something from Hellblade 2, and we'll probably see like updates on maybe some of these other games we didn't hear about. But that's like Hellblade 2 was going to be in this E3 show, and then when it was just like going to be a CG trailer, you could look at the show and see why they cut it, right? Why they wouldn't want to show another CG trailer. They were just on the line of, if there was one more CG trailer, it would have been definitely too many. I think they kind of got away with that last one, where it's like that one was kind of on the line, Redfall. But like, if you're going to cut anything, you cut Hellblade 2 and wait till you're ready to show it, and you show the new game that is a CG trailer that people are going to be more forgiving of. But yeah, we should hear more about some of those games here on Thursday. I think that is. So yeah.
Chandler Weatherford asks, "Hey guys, do you think there's any chance that Age of Empires 4 gets a console port post-release?"
They're thinking about it. They're considering it. I don't think they've made any decisions about that for sure at this point. They'll wait and see kind of what the reaction is. If Age of Empires 4 comes out and it's like in consideration for Game of the Year on PC, like PC Game of the Year, I bet they'll consider it pretty heavily. But until then, it's going to be kind of wait and see.
AJ asks, we talked about this a little bit, but you can elaborate here. Jeff, I must know, Halo Infinite, November 15th or December? Devs did say the game will launch with both campaign and multiplayer, so no splitting them up.
I think it's I'm going to lean towards December, actually. I think a big part of that is they are looking over the next 6 months of Game Pass, and they want to have something big each month. And I think they have the big thing in November with Forza. They got a big thing in October with Back 4 Blood. If they want to have a big thing in December and make it Halo and make it something where, like, and you got to, like, traditionally, you would want to launch a big game before Thanksgiving, right? You want to have all those sales before Black Friday, and then you get all the weekend sales leading up to Christmas. With Game Pass, it's a little bit different. You could buy Game Pass on Christmas morning when you get your Xbox and open it up. You could just open up your Xbox, plug it into the TV, and then buy Game Pass right there. And a good motivating factor there would be a new Halo game that just launched. So the incentives have shifted a little bit so that they could release a game like that in December and not really feel any pain from that.
Georgie says, "Glad you were wrong with Omen. First half isn't empty."
I don't understand.
Talk about how wrong you were, Jeff.
What was I wrong about? Yeah, I'm sure I was, but
about Omen's release date. You said
yes. Oh, yes, totally. I'm glad I was wrong too. Yes, I was totally just guessing there because I was never told one way or the other. So yeah, I was wrong in 2022.
So
that's
when you
awesome.
Use your own brain, you're wrong all the time, is what you're saying. But when you're
almost always, yes,
yeah.
Yes, pretty much, yeah.
But this story has 2 questions. What will be harder to find this holiday season? Series X console or a Series X fridge? And Jeff, will you take a picture with the fridge? Oh, please don't. Please don't take a picture with the fridge.
With the fridge, yeah, laying back with it. I'm going to recreate it, Mike.
Console.
I'm going to recreate it exactly.
That'd be funny.
I bet the fridge will be harder to find, honestly. Yeah, for real. I think that's right.
Hood 815, do you think State of Decay 3 will be shown this year? Will it be 23 or later? Also, have you heard anything from over at Monolith?
I haven't heard anything from Monolith, and I think State of Decay, it's not one of the games I've heard about for 2023, but as we saw with Omen, that doesn't necessarily mean anything, where like there are games that are being like internally sort of monitored for like where they could end up in the release, and I was looking specifically at 2023 when I was sort of like going over stuff and what could happen there, and if State of Decay 3 is not in there, maybe that's something that is also coming out in 2022. Or maybe it is something they're thinking about a little bit longer out, or maybe they just haven't figured out a release window for it yet. But I have not heard one way or the other.
Man, I was just thinking, Jeff, our little E3 segment, I think we didn't beat Microsoft, but we got Gearbox beat. I think we got Square Enix beat too. So yes. We're not doing that bad.
I was thinking that today too. I was going to tweet something about it, but I was like being a little bit too self-serving on Twitter today. I'm like, I'm going to not do this one. Not this one.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah. Alexander Dark 91, is Halo 3 not Halo 3? Why did I read Halo 3? He clearly writes Wolfenstein 3. Is Wolfenstein 3 not in production?
I don't know. I'm being pessimistic about it because I try not to get my hopes up for
They
it.
mentioned Wolfenstein. They mentioned that franchise at some point where they're talking about how there's all these great Microsoft shooter franchises.
Did they say Wolfenstein? I was thinking of the Pete Hines moment where he had Wolfenstein behind him and a bunch of other stuff, and he's like, "We are making all of the games that you think we're making," and I'm like, "Oh."
There was some point where he did a roll call of Microsoft's shooter franchises, and Wolfenstein was brought up.
Okay.
Quake was not. Or Unreal. Yeah, Quake. Quake was not. Quake, I don't think they're doing anything with Quake anytime soon.
Right. They're going to let Quake rest for a bit, yeah.
They still consider Wolfenstein a property.
Okay. Well, I don't know if it's in production. I hope it is kind of where I'm at with that. I'm trying not to get my hopes up. I guess I'm more confident today than I was yesterday, just based on the way that they spoke about it at E3 today.
Daniel Bradley says, Final Fantasy Origin prediction. You play as Garland during the time loop from the original game. The armor was either empty or a Garland from a previous loop. So if you haven't played Final Fantasy 1, time loops are involved.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I could buy that. If you had told me, like, oh, you're going to play as, like, Garland from Final Fantasy 1 in this game, I would have thought that was cool until I found out that, like, he looks like a cross between a Hollister employee. Is that my second Hollister reference today?
But you're right. It's so on point, though. You're right, though. If you've ever walked past a Hollister in a mall, because who's gone into one? But if you walk past a Hollister in a mall and you see the guy waiting there, right there, that is the dude. That is the hero of this video game. But like
edgier and cooler.
Real quick, just for some context for this, for that super chat, can you Google whether or not Chaos is the villain of Final Fantasy 1 for me or not?
No, Chaos. Look, Final Fantasy does all this time. It's like you have the villain. In this case, it's Garland. Then you beat him, and it's like, Chaos is the real villain.
I'm just confused about why they would be there to kill Chaos. Doesn't make any sense to me. I don't know.
Now I'm thinking about that trailer again and just getting so... man, I think I might even hate that more than what they did to Final Fantasy 6. Because you know what? When that comes out, maybe that'll be a decent remaster. It'll be ridiculous that it's not on Switch and that it's not part of a collection.
Is the big problem that it's not on Switch in its like original form? Because couldn't you just go like emulate Final Fantasy 6 or something?
Well, like I said, you would have to emulate it and then patch it unless you're okay with the Game Boy Advance version as it is. Because again, the Game Boy Advance version does have some visual and audio like
hiccups.
Setbacks.
Okay.
So you would want ideally like I think you can get a ROM of the Super Nintendo version with the like additions, the new translation, and the bug fixes from the Game Boy Advance version. Maybe like there's something like that exists. It's baffling that just doesn't exist easily from Square Enix, but here we are. Mr. City asks, "Hey Grubbs, why is my wife ruining my E3 day?" Well, I'm sure you have a good answer for that, Jeff.
I mean, probably because you're not taking care of your shit. Like E3 is only from certain hours each day, so in those hours when it's not happening, go take out the garbage, go make sure the bathrooms are clean.
Picking the wife's side.
Yeah, absolutely. I bet she makes more money than you too. So I bet go ask her to come here and give us the super chats next time. No, man, I don't know. Normally I travel to. Yeah, normally I travel for E3 and I leave like in the last couple of years, not last year, but the year before that, like I left my wife alone with the kids, and I always feel really guilty about it. But she's handled it well, and this time like she's done a real good job of like making sure the kids are mostly taken care of while E3 is happening. Although I did have to go change a dirty diaper during Babylon's Fall, but what the hell, that's not that bad.
Brett Brigham says, "I was dying when I started hearing Steely Dan." So, yeah, another Steely Dan fan.
Yeah!
I have to confess, I don't know very much about Steely Dan. Is it?
Well, you're not a dad. This makes perfect sense.
Is it that much weirder to hear Steely Dan than any of these other popular musicians we hear all the time?
There was a couple other, like, honestly, the ones in Guardians of the Galaxy were so weird just because they just sounded bad. But, yeah, it is weird that a dad band like Steely Dan ended up at E3. Yes, that is still that much weirder. We had
two different trailers this year do the I Need a Hero song, which,
yes,
as far as I'm concerned, has already been monopolized by Shrek 2, which like used it to absolute perfection. So why even bother ever? But hey.
You are not wrong. You are not wrong at all. Like at a certain point, you just have to admit that another cultural artifact has already owned that. You're right.
Yes. You can't do anything with that song now. Pat 08 Mullins asks, Starfire X scorn ? What all have you heard for 2023? Would have liked a bigger game for quarter 1 or quarter 2 next year. Thoughts? Overall, the show is an 8 out of 10 for him. So yeah, they didn't say anything about Crossfire X here, huh?
Yeah, so I've looked into it, and I don't know exactly what's happening with it, but the words I've heard are development hell. I've heard that it is in development hell. What that means exactly, I'm sorry, I don't know. But the little I've been able to glean from what's happening there, it's in development hell, and that's a bummer because I would love to see what a Remedy campaign shooter looks like, and hopefully they're able to see it through to the finish line. But,
that's interesting because you almost would have thought that, like, maybe I shouldn't be thinking this, but that would have been a pretty lazy, just make a Call of Duty style campaign thingy.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think Remedy can't help itself but be Remedy. Like I did an interview for Remedy. I think it must have been last year, the year before. Excuse me. And I'm like, are you going to have any like TVs like showing weird Remedy TV shows in the world? And they're like, no one's asked us that, but we are planning something for that. And I'm like, okay, so Remedy's still going to be Remedy here. But I don't know. I hopefully they're able to see it through. I don't know. Hopefully I'm not like putting undue stress on them, but I would just maybe say lay off of that developer for a little bit. Let's see if they can get it together and get that game out the door.
In the meantime, you'll get that Crossfire RTS game from the Homeworld guys.
Yeah, why not just go play that instead? What a weird world we live in, but yeah.
Yes, a weird Homeworld. Hunter Smith said, I thought Jeff lived in Detroit or somewhere in Michigan. Why else would he subject himself to being a Red Wings fan? You were in Detroit at some point in your life.
I was born in there.
What's your current address? What's the number? What's the street address?
Yeah, absolutely. Of course. Yeah, it's 666. No, I lived in 24 mile north of Detroit until I was 15, and then I moved to Ohio. But I grew up a Red Wings fan, grew up a Lions fan. Yeah, that's me. And yeah, being a Red Wings fan right now is difficult, but they had a 25-year streak of going to the playoffs, and that was like my entire life. And so it feels really, really bad to complain about them now, so I don't.
Jedi Moss 4 asks, will you buy the Xbox fridge, the true next-gen tech? I could use a little mini fridge in this office, and I think about it.
My wife got me a mini fridge for my birthday. Yeah, for my birthday, and it's got a little glass on it. It's really nice. I use it all the time. I really like it. I don't need one, so unless they send me one. But if they send me one, I am probably just going to send it to Mike instead if he doesn't get one too, because like I said, I already got one.
Well, how nice of you.
Yeah, no problem.
I do deserve nice things. Fossil 007, I am not worried about Fable after seeing Forza Horizon 5. Yeah, I wouldn't be either.
I would not be worried.
Faith.
Yeah,
I had complete faith in that studio.
Playground Studios it seems like they might be at the top of their game right now. So yeah, I'm very much looking forward to Fable and seeing what they're going to do with that.
In a separate super chat, Faisal says, the Last Night Game Guy is pissed off at Replace. I don't know who the Last Night Game Guy is, but Replace looked really nice. That was that really pretty looking 2D game. Yeah,
that looked fantastic. The games that they chose to put in this show that were like smaller all looked really good, and that was one of them. One of the best looking things.
I tell you what, they didn't have much weeb stuff in there, but when they showed that Suikoden game, and I can never remember its actual name, but it's made by the Suikoden guy. That looks so good. I'm so excited for that.
Is that already out on Steam? Is that why
It was Kickstarted not that long ago. It's not out till 2023. It's out. There's like an action RPG like spin-off thing coming out first, kind of like with Bloodstained, right? How like the retro game happened first. Right. Yeah, that's not till 2023, but it's a super traditional turn-based RPG, kind of doing that 2D HD style thing. Right?
It's like one of the best looking 2D HD games. We're getting more of those for sure. We saw some in the PC gaming show, but this one looked really good. Yeah. This one looked fantastic.
Meanwhile, Final Fantasy VI is going to look not like that. Good Morning Games says Fallout 76 had more crap announced. It did. They are doing like a little Pittsburgh expansion, which, as someone who lives close to Pittsburgh, is mildly intriguing. Not intriguing enough to make me play Fallout 76, but it's something. Is 76 the last Fallout game? Will we get a Fallout 5? Should I just accept that Outer Worlds is the new Fallout? There will be a Fallout 5.
Yeah, absolutely.
Look, they're making Starfield, and that's coming out next fall. So a while, and then we know Elder Scrolls 6 is next, and that's probably at least 3 years after Starfield. There's no way it's coming out super soon after Starfield. And then we'll start hearing about Fallout because it's all that studio. That's why I was always kind of surprised about Starfield, because games are taking longer and longer to make. And you think that they would keep needing the next Fallout and the next Elder Scrolls to keep coming out. And these games are going to take forever now if that studio is working on 3 franchises. And, it's good to have new franchises. But again, people are going to be more than ready by the time Fallout 5 does come out. I mean, when Elder Scrolls 6 comes out, it's going to probably be like 15 years since the release of Skyrim or something like that. Which is
I mean, they talked about the 10-year anniversary of Skyrim during this show, because that's what we're at. So I'll say that if Starfield comes out and looks as good as it looked in that trailer, and they were making those promises like, oh, we are on the 2.0 version of our engine or whatever. I think the evidence for why Starfield was needed will be kind of apparent, where they reworked all their technology for this new game that pushed them in these new directions and forced their hand to create these new systems that would work really well. And then when they get back to Fallout, it will like pay dividends there, and that game's going to feel like, the jump from Fallout 3 to Fallout 4 was, I think, for most people pretty small, and that's a big part of the backlash towards Fallout 4. The next Fallout's going to be pretty significantly different, so that'll be nice to see. I think there's also a chance that Bethesda could spin up some new teams to work on the next Fallout. Like, they could really grow under Microsoft, and I wouldn't be surprised if they start maybe developing in parallel something like Elder Scrolls 6 and Fallout 5.
Jedi Moss 4 says, was part of the problem with Square's presentation that many of their biggest projects are tied up in marketing deals with Nintendo and Sony? No, because, I mean, look, they didn't show Final Fantasy 16 and other things, but it wasn't so much what they didn't show. It's just that what they did show wasn't very good. But that was the big issue there.
Yeah, they did a bad job of presenting what they had. The stuff that they showed was, and as we saw with Xbox, there are ways to make things entertaining, even if it's not something that everyone wants. Like a 15-second trailer for the Final Fantasy Pixel remakes or whatever is just weird. It's just weird and bad. So yeah.
Dovakin89 says, talking about Final Fantasy Origin, did Sony retract from money heading that game? And, this is one of the few Final Fantasy games that is multi-platform. So you wonder if Sony had an option on it. Right? And they're like,
I mean, it's on phones and Steam. Like, it's not even on consoles. Yeah, you're right.
No. Origin.
Oh, Origin. My bad.
The Souls-like. Yeah, this one's coming out on Xbox.
Is it not exclusive? I thought it was exclusive.
No, it's coming out. It's coming out the Xbox. It's coming out the Xbox. So I'd like to imagine Sony had a chance to lock it down, and they're like, "No, that's all right. You could give Microsoft that one too."
Yep. Wow. Okay. Yeah. That's my headcanon for sure. Yep. Man. Okay.
Deadly Virus Evo asks, Jeff, because of the Starfield leak, do you think they swapped trailer positions with Redfall? There would not have been nearly enough time.
There was not enough
like
time.
You just go into Microsoft Movie Editor or whatever and like move the clips.
Right.
It would be a big deal.
These things were they premiered on YouTube. They were edited already. One of the reasons that I was skeptical before I started like losing faith in myself about the acquisitions was I bet a lot of this stuff was filmed last week, and they spent a lot of time editing it, making sure that the presentation was really, you could tell watching that this is a well edited presentation, and they did spend a lot of time moving things around. And I think, Mike, like, we have direct evidence that they move stuff around in ways that, like, to make it presented in the best way possible. And so yeah, they would have no way to go in there last minute and shift that stuff around, especially because Todd Howard comes out and introduces the whole show, and so yeah, they didn't shift that stuff. No.
Daniel Bradley asks, how likely for Guardians of the Galaxy to patch in control for the other characters like Final Fantasy 15 did? It is like, part of me is like glad that's just a single player game, but it is weird because like we're getting all these co-op games, and here's a brand that seems to lend itself to co-oping or at least playing as multiple characters. It's like, no, you play as Starfield. I mean,
Starfield. You play as Starfield, huh?
Starfield. You play as Star-Lord.
But it just make it like Mass Effect. You don't ever play as Rex, right? You can't control Rex directly. So if that's what they're doing here, I think that also fits this really well.
And I think that's what they're doing. It was kind of hard to keep paying attention to that gameplay demo, but I think that's what happened. But I don't think they're going to patch in like a Groot campaign or something. Maybe they will.
Yeah, maybe.
Art Wob, I've never played Final Fantasy. Sell this franchise to me in one word, please. Also, what are your favorite cannoli fillings? The only good cannoli filling is the sweet ricotta. That's all you need. You don't need anything fancy.
I trust Mike on that one.
Yeah, I don't even want any chocolate chips in there. No nuts. Sweet ricotta, just in the thing. You could dip the ends into chocolate if you must, but even that seems a little.
I literally used, when I first started dating Stephanie, we literally lived right across the street from the big Italian church in Columbus, Ohio, where they would do the Italian Fest. And so for like a weekend every year, it was just nonstop cannoli city, and it was the best. And now I really am craving one.
As for selling the franchise in one word, I only have one word for you: chaos. From pillar to post.
How did I not know?
On the same thread there, Arby's, we have the chaos. Arby's, I won't let them do that to you once this partnership is finalized. I promise. Look at me, Arby's. We're gonna take good care of you here.
Yep, that's
It's gonna
right.
be fantastic. We aren't gonna allow any of this naysayers, any of this negativity.
We will
We're gonna
keep
love
Square
you like
Enix
you
away
love
from
us.
you. We're not going to let them
We'll
mess up
keep
your
them
stuff.
away from you.
Yeah.
We won't let them hurt you like they hurt Final Fantasy.
Oh man.
Steve Perry says, been following you guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Xbox said publicly they're trying to release first-party games every quarter, but didn't announce one for spring. Do y'all know what studio might have something in the chamber? So next spring, huh?
Right.
Well, when is Redfall is just 2022, right? Is that
Summer?
spring, maybe?
It's summer. It's summer. 20.
It's
Yeah.
summertime.
Mhm.
Huh. I don't know. Maybe Grounded has like its official release in spring because isn't that still
Grounded
in beta
will get Grounded does get 1.0 next year. It's going to be stuff like that. There's I'm not gonna be able to remember it. I'm sorry, everybody. There's another smaller game coming out next year that'll probably fill in that thing. But I think when Microsoft says that, I do think they mean like bigger games, like big games, and they might just not have something for spring. But starting in summer, they should be able to like start hitting that one thing per quarter in perpetuity, like. Especially with how many games are scheduled for 2023. I'm not going to go read them, but my story I put up today on GamesBeat.com about why wasn't Fable and Avowed here. That has a list of stuff that is expected in 2023, and it's not just like Fable, Avowed, Perfect Dark, which all are expected in 2023. It's also stuff like In Exile's new game and Compulsion's new game. This is all stuff that Microsoft expects to have in 2023. So once we get to summer, it's going to be bam, bam, bam. And then in 2023, it's going to be bam, 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 bam. It's going to be pretty intense. So they're going to get there.
Isaac Spencer says, every time I listen to GamesBeat, my fiance Danielle says how much
This is
she
messed
hates
up.
how much she hates Mike's voice. But I wanted to let Mike know that I love his voice. Man, she is gonna love my rant screaming about Final Fantasy this week. That's gonna be music to her ears. Look, I know about my voice. That's why I have to practice beautiful musical instruments, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you want to play? You want to make up for your voice real quick?
No,
Okay.
I'm hurt. My feelings are hurt. You don't get it.
Sorry, Mike. I'm sorry.
Danielle needs to apologize.
I could put a voice changer on you. We could try to make you sound like a sultry.
I want to sound like the guy who hates chaos. That guy sounds real gruff and cool.
Honestly, Mike, no one sounds like they hate chaos more than you. So, yeah.
I do hate chaos.
Any more super chats?
Yeah, I got 5 more here. Let's get through these. Thraxmo 1.0. Not get through them. Your super chats are very important to us, and we take our time with them.
Yes, we do.
But also, let's get going. Thraxmo 1.0. Will Nintendo unveil something on Tuesday that explains the Switch on Phil's shelf?
No.
There's
no explaining it. There's a reason it just sits there. It's because he doesn't play his Switch. He plays on xCloud and stuff. Like he just doesn't play Switch. Like it's not that big a deal. No.
Big D Games, have you seen the Elder Scrolls Easter egg in the Starfield trailer on Twitter?
No,
I didn't see that. No,
I didn't see it. We haven't had a lot of time to go back and look over this stuff. So we went straight from working on covering E3 to this. So we'll get some time probably later tonight to look at that kind of stuff.
And what do you expect from Take-Two and Capcom tomorrow? I am not expecting much, especially from Capcom. I'm trying to keep my expectations in check. We see right the third-party presentations are often disappointing. They often aren't very exciting. They're usually not quite Square Enix bad like we got now, but they're very rarely wow, who really won E3 was Capcom.
Yeah, right. Capcom's on a hot streak in terms of releasing really good games. And I remember there was an E3, I think it was the Resident Evil 2 remake E3, where people were feeling really good about them, and they had the nice show floor presentation where it was like a zombie haunted house or whatever. And so they know how to put on a presentation and stuff. But I think you're right that they're not in a place right now where they're going to be able to win E3. That's probably just not going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, my big hope is to see the full on next Ace Attorney game, which I don't really know if they're going to talk about that since they need to sell the combo of the Great Ace Attorney what we're getting.
Right.
So And I'm not really expecting Mega Man unless it's like that Mega Man mobile match 3 game that maybe was leaked.
I will say, if we get that Resident Evil Outrage game and it's a Switch game, I bet people are going to look at it and be like, that also looks like a Switch Pro game, just like Mario plus Rabbids did. So,
what about Take-Two? Is there anything specifically?
Man, I bet we see Tiny Tina's Wonderlands again.
No, not again.
Are they publishing? They're publishing it, right? So I bet we do see it again. I would be afraid to bet against that.
I guess because Koch.
Well, yes,
whatever.
Yeah, right.
I can't keep track of it all.
Right. Koch owns Gearbox, but I was under the impression that like 2K was going to keep publishing Borderlands games.
Okay.
But is this not technically a Borderlands game? I don't know. I guess I haven't really.
They seem to be making that point. Maybe that's why they're making that point.
Maybe it's like a legal thing. I guess I don't know for sure. So maybe we won't see it there. I don't think we're going to see Grand Theft Auto 6, Mike. I can tell you that much.
I don't think we're going to see that either.
Yeah.
All right, Taylor Brown. So should E3 have stayed dead, or does it still have a point in 2021? I personally don't think it can recapture the magic of years past. I agree with that. I think that Microsoft show was very good, and obviously not everyone's going to like it, but at a certain point, I don't want to say why maybe you didn't like it. If you didn't like it, that's fine. But maybe some people are really only interested in big surprises, and a lot of stuff did get leaked. So maybe it would disappoint you in that way. But no, E3 can still be fun. I think Microsoft showed that. I'm sure we're still going to have a couple more good shows here. It is Nintendo kind of going late on the last day, or not late, but going on the last day. That's going to set the tone for how people ultimately feel about this E3. They can also have a good show. And as long as Microsoft and Nintendo did well, I think people are going to be pretty happy. But if Nintendo comes in and is disappointing, then people are ultimately going to be like, aside from Microsoft, that was a pretty awful E3.
Right. But I mean, I don't know. When I look at it from how many people are watching and how interested people are in it and how many people are showing up to our shows each night just to hear us talk about what happened at E3 each day, it seems like E3 is still very much a nexus for the industry, and that alone will keep it relevant and make people want to keep doing it.
I tell you what, as tired as I am super glad we're still doing this like marathon 5-day thing instead of that kind of awful 5 month.
This is so much better than last year. Absolutely.
Yeah.
We're working a really long, tough Sunday, and it's like, okay.
It does not feel like Sunday, huh? That's so weird.
No, it doesn't feel like Sunday at all. But it's like, okay, I can that's easy to accept, because first of all, it's still kind of fun. Like, I'm still having a pretty good time. But also it's like, I do not foresee this being like, oh, every weekend I'm doing something like this, maybe, and ultimately it's almost always disappointing. Like, at least like the Microsoft show was really good, and we're having a good time talking about this stuff, and then we're going to do stuff Monday and Tuesday, and then things are going to quiet down until EA in July. So yeah.
All right, just a couple more here. Master Sith 40. I don't know what he's talking about, but he says, what a pile of shit, tired of waiting for something. And something's capitalized. Is something a thing? Is that a name of something? Is he specifically tired of winning something? I don't know. Thank you, Master Sith.
Yeah, it's probably like that kid. It's just like, what do you wait? Like, or what are you staring at? It's like something.
Well, that's Mr. Incredible. I was wearing my Incredible shirt earlier too. Mr. Incredible says, "What are you looking at?" or something.
Yeah.
Or, what are you waiting for? He goes, "I don't know. Something amazing, I guess."
Yeah, exactly.
Something incredible, I guess. RDX Son of a Fett asks, any reason why we didn't see Scorn? Which one is Scorn?
I think I have a hard time keeping these ones straight, but I think Scorn is the weird alien pervy one that has wall dicks.
Oh.
Yeah, dicks on the wall.
This one.
Yeah, I can't remember the name of the artist, but like the artist that did the stuff that inspired Aliens, like he makes like weird alien looking dick stuff, and that's what this game is, almost 100% just weird alien dick stuff. So I do not know why we did not hear about Scorn. I'm sorry, I don't have an answer to that one. I imagine we'll hear about it pretty soon. It was on their roadmap for games coming to Game Pass, and I bet that means maybe we'll hear about it on Thursday. I guess I don't know for sure.
Maybe they just don't want to subject us to more wall dicks.
Yeah. Gooey alien dick and the wet horny one is what people are saying in chat. Thank you, H. Lauren and Daniel Bradley.
Why is everyone saying Geiger? Oh, that's the artist, Geiger. I was like, what is
Geiger?
Everyone just
Thank you.
Geiger?
Thank you, everybody.
E3
Brain.
About?
E3 Brain.
We got it. We got there. That's it for the super chats for now. If you guys want to game more, we'll get to them to the end. Was there anything from the Discord, friends?
Yeah, we got a few. Let's start here with Louis Patelli. Let me. I gotta expand the actual question itself.
It's a fun name. It's like Mike Minotti. It's a fun name to say. Good Italian name.
Turns out Italian names are fun to say. Louis Patelli. Yeah. He says, with all of the positive vibes and accolades coming out of the Xbox show today, will Sony feel the pressure to respond sooner rather than later? I don't think so.
Well, I mean, they can't respond sooner than they're ready, because then like the whole point is that they have to do a good show, right?
Right.
They might be feeling a little. I'm sure they would have rather Microsoft bombed, right? So maybe it's a little awkward for them that they don't have a response at all. So now, of course, you could say the response is Ratchet and Clank, and in a lot of ways, Ratchet and Clank is like. Yes. So I think it is ruining a lot of people's, like, one of the things with Guardians of the Galaxy, and maybe that's like why I'm rough on that.
Yeah.
And Final Fantasy Origin and some of these other games that like are clearly just like almost PlayStation 4 led things. I'm just like, man, there is such an incredible difference between that and Ratchet and Clank. And I was somebody who before this generation was like, oh, we've kind of reaching that plateau. How much more next gen your game's gonna look? And now I'm like getting mad when I'm seeing some of these like AAA games and they don't quote unquote look good enough.
Yep. Yeah, you kind of can't get a better response than Ratchet. I agree. Nick Turbo asks, why was the showcase called Xbox plus Bethesda? Are they still trying to integrate Bethesda into the Xbox family? Will next year's showcase just be called Xbox? We've talked about this a little bit. What do you think, Mike?
Yeah, I mean, I understand the question, because it is a little awkward how it's like, now here's a separate stage with Bethesda. What's the difference between these two things anymore? I don't really know. I'm sure eventually it is going to all become one thing. But, you know, Bethesda itself is still a big recognizable brand. So there is still value there in kind of making it a 2-for-1, right?
Right.
Like,
that's what it is.
Extra value there.
That's exactly what it is. It's like we talked about it before, but it's like going to Disney Plus and seeing that you have the Star Wars channel and the Nat Geo channel, and you have the Pixar channel, and you have all these brands under this thing, and you only pay one price for all this stuff. That's what they're trying to do here, where you're going to pay one price for Game Pass, but you're going to get Xbox plus Bethesda. Wow, what a deal. That's what they're trying to do.
You know, a couple super chat here I want to bring up real quick. What's up with Cuphead? Did they ditch the DLC and now making Cuphead 2 instead of the DLC? No. So that's interesting. I don't know if they could turn what they were making into Cuphead 2, because it was like the new character and new bosses. I mean, don't forget, Cuphead 1 got delayed a zillion times before it was ready. It was interesting that it wasn't still like ready enough to even show. I didn't even think about Cuphead. Plus, they just had that cartoon that they revealed. So I don't know what's going on with Cuphead. Any insight there, Jeff?
No, me neither. I would imagine that it is probably similar to when they were trying to get the game out originally, like you said. Like, a lot of delays there, a lot of delays here. This just seems to be par for the course. They just want to make sure the game is as good as it can be. They made a lot of money from that game. It sold very well. And so I think they don't want to come out and sort of have just like a fizzled launch. And
they are actually like animating this stuff, right? It's not like that Netflix show, which is like emulating that style with the more quote unquote flash animation. I don't know, whatever you would call it. Not it's not like, you know, a guy with a pencil.
Right.
And then Carmos 1970 says, hey, Jeff, Greg Miller really doesn't like you talking crap about you on his stream earlier. Lol. I think you need to fire back. Jeff, are you going to say something mean about industry hero and icon Greg Miller?
I don't have to say anything mean about that sack of shit. Everyone. See, the thing is, everyone already knows how awful he is.
I said it.
I love Greg Miller, and I hope him wellness and nothing but good things for him and his family. Congratulations on recovering from cancer.
I did it to you.
Oh, he would love that too. What you just did to me. Oh, that's disgusting. Oh, I feel
I'll
dirty.
Force you to be nice.
Yeah, I feel filthy. Nick Turbo asks, any presentations worth turning into tomorrow? We talked a little bit about that, Nick. We're going to be watching them because it's our job.
Yeah, I mean, I would be, if I wasn't working, I'd still be watching Capcom, because I like Capcom a lot, and they have been doing very good work lately. So
Capcom's the one.
Yeah, let's hope for we don't know, but let's hope for the best of Capcom.
Right. Ray Mogos, greetings, gentlemen. With another day of E3 in the books, what is today's best in show for you guys? Also, what game do you think could use a delay or some more dev time? Well, I think we got answers for both of these.
I think Final Fantasy Origin is the game that could use a fucking delay.
Yep. When is that coming out?
Cancellation, to be honest.
Yeah, honestly, just scrap that one. Yeah.
I'll settle for a delay.
When is that game coming out? Because I was surprised that Guardians of the Galaxy is this year.
Yeah, Guardians of the Galaxy is like October or something.
Months away.
Final Fantasy Origin was supposed to have a demo today. So
Oh my
let's
God,
see.
what a nightmare!
Well, they sometimes release those demos that come out a good bit before.
Yeah, what's the best in show though? I think Forza Horizon 5.
Horizon looks really good. Everyone's pretty high on that, and I'm not inclined to disagree. I feel like I disqualified it because I can't remember its name, but that's Suikoden sequel.
Iuden or whatever. Really yeah, Iuden Chronicles really or whatever it is. All those look. I think that replacement looked pretty good. I guess I should find out why people are mad about it or whatever. But yeah, that looked really good.
Why are people mad? I don't know what that's about.
Yeah, hopefully it's not any no one's being canceled or anything.
We don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. But I think probably Forza Horizon 5 because it's like. It's a game with a release date. It's a game that looks really good. It's a proven series. I am totally down with the idea of driving around in Mexico. I think it looked fantastic in terms of setting and style and vibe. And so all that stuff really worked for me. So yeah, that's probably best to show. Although Steely Dan in a video game ad, that's also very good. So that's close second right there.
Final Fantasy Origin is 2022. The characters' names, by the way, are Jack, Ash, and Jed.
Oh,
the main guy's Jack.
Okay.
The one guy, how dare the one guy even have a spear and pretend he's a dragoon? I'm so mad.
Welcome to Hollister. I'll be your associate. I'm Jack. Yeah, totally.
What's incredible is like in this one screenshot, like at least Ash and Jed are wearing armor, but like in the key art, they're just also wearing Hollister clothes. I hate this game so much. I know I need to play it, but it upsets me greatly. I don't like it.
From Jeff with a G. Jeff, how worried should we be about Halo slipping into 2022? It's a possibility, but they're going to do everything they can to get this game out before the end of this year. They do not want to delay it into 2022. Again, to 2022. They, I think that if it comes out and they have to push it out, and it's like a slight disappointment, they're going to just bite the bullet and do it and say, hey, we are going to keep working on this game. This is not the end of the story. We've worked really hard in this game, and we're not going to let that all be for naught. We're going to try to keep working on it. But I don't think a delay is really something they even want to entertain. They're really worried about that. So, but I guess it's still in the realm of possibility. Let's see, Giggy. From Giggy, of the games you've seen so far, what are you most excited for? Iuden Chronicle is my pick so far. So
hey, that's the
yes, that's the one
game I can't remember the name of. In my defense, the name is stupid, but the game looks great. The game looks fantastic. Yeah,
we talked about this a little bit, but yes, thank you for that question, Giggy, and thank you for watching. Giggy and us go way back. We hung out at PAX, the first PAX East, a long time ago. From Sosuke, will Halo launch in November or December? Devs said during E3 that they are not splitting up campaign and multiplayer. Thoughts?
I think he asked this on Super Chat too. Someone asked a very similar question.
Right.
We talked about it, but you think December is more likely?
I'm leaning towards December. Yes, I think so. But we'll see. Some people still think September, and I just don't see that happen.
Carlos out. Sorry, you weren't done there.
They're gonna say they say holiday 2021. So. I mean, September is not holiday 2021. So
I tell you what, if you weren't sure about it, you wouldn't be leaning like earlier than expected, right?
Yeah, right. Exactly. Okay. So what was your thing?
Carlos Alvarado has a super chat here asking, are there any more Microsoft acquisitions or IP purchases? I mean, other people who weren't Jeff were saying that maybe that would happen, and it didn't. So it's always possible they're working on those. As Jeff has said before, it's bad to have money in the bank right now. You want to invest that in something tangible like a studio. So there's a reason why they would. It's just a matter of finding good fits and finding things that make sense.
Yep. And I think they're just doing their due diligence right now to find that stuff out, find what makes sense. So yeah. From Bustelo, is replaced from the Microsoft conference related to the last night that was revealed so long ago. So the last night was that one.
Else asked about this.
So the last night is the one that was canceled because the developer was like Pro Gamergate or whatever. I don't know. That's
people are mad.
I don't know. I did get those vibes, but I guess
forgot all about the last night. I'll be honest.
I don't because that night when everything broke bad for that game and everyone was like kind of freaking out about and canceling the guy because he was Pro Gamergate like you do. I met up and I was hanging out at a place and the people who were working in the PR on that game were there and they just looked like they had been through hell and been through war. Okay, my kid's yelling at me.
I don't think it is related, though. I don't think it is related.
I don't know.
Let's not cancel.
Yes, yeah, I have no idea. So we're gonna look into this stuff more, but let's just assume it's not. Also, OMG, that Guardians of the Galaxy game looks so freaking good. I'm glad people like it.
Yeah, people seem split on it, and I get it.
We could just be maybe jaded, and maybe I'm just being a little bit harsh because I know you said it looks fine, and I'm the one who's kind of down on it.
I think it looks fine. Keep in mind, I played that Deadpool game from like the Xbox 360 era and thought that was like actually good. So maybe I have bad taste in superhero games. I don't know. But I don't. Yeah, I'm not plussed about it, but I'm not going to hold it against anybody who's into it. It's fine.
From Keywork, any new back compat news coming up soon? Also, any chance that Indiana Jones new or at Indiana Jones news this year? Basically, will we get Indiana Jones news this year? I don't think so about that one.
Nah.
It's just a bit too early. I guess maybe the Game Awards, but even that seems too early.
I don't think so.
That game's probably like 2024, honestly. Any new back compat news coming up soon? I think that's the kind of thing that they might talk about on this Thursday show. So I guess we'll have to wait and see. They say, P.S. Mike, as a fellow theme park fuckboy, I enjoyed the electric umbrella shirt. Just missing a handwich. TM.
Nice. There you go. There are those Epcot food references. Go over to the land and get yourself a handwich. I like it.
From our boy Donnie Reese, Jeff, Mike, exclamation point. The Xbox show was so great today. Do you think this moves the needle for them in the gaming scene now? Is this the first time Xbox might have best show of E3 status? Yeah, there's a real chance that this might be the first E3 where we come out and we say unequivocally Xbox had the best show.
I wonder if there really wasn't. I wonder if there's never actually been an E3 like that. I'm almost curious now, but it seems likely. It's because again, you don't expect too much from the third parties, so you really have Nintendo,
right?
And I don't know. I'm like worried about Nintendo a little bit. I'll be honest.
Same. I'm scared. I'm like wondering if like the recent stuff hasn't leaked from Nintendo. It's because they're not going to have much. Like that's kind of where I'm at right now. But I guess we'll see. Giggy. This is a follow-up, I guess. So also, how does it feel that Final Fantasy Legends series for Game Boy is getting better treatment than the official Final Fantasy series? Wow, that's messed up.
No, yeah, both of those. Yeah, so like the Saga games, which were just called Final Fantasy over here, and the Mana games, which was also called Final Fantasy on Game Boy here. But both of those are getting more respect in their remasters and remakes for some reason. I don't know. I do not understand. It's just there must be some executive somewhere who like doesn't get it or something. I have no idea. It's bizarre. And it's weird because you get the incredible Final Fantasy VII remake that is like, exceeds expectations, and even like when they brought Final Fantasy 12 and Final Fantasy 10 to the consoles last year, those were good. Nothing wrong with those. It's just those 8-bit and 16-bit games, man. That they just treat those dirty. I don't know what's wrong with that.
They got Jim Ryan in there saying these old games are trash. These old games are trash.
So Donnie brought this up in chat. I wanted to say is here's my thing with Nintendo is that it seems to me that Wind Waker Twilight Princess should be the easiest, most obvious thing. And there's a part of me that's like, I don't know if we're getting that. And if we don't get that, that's just like a bummer. And it's just like this, like, why not? And I'm just gonna fixate on that the whole show. We'll see.
You won't be wrong because you're right. It's the easiest thing. They should do it. T Gibbs 97. Thank you for reminding me this in this question. Where do we see the Marvel XCOM game if it exists? That will be at Take-Two tomorrow. Because that's a 2 game. It's a Firaxis game under 2K Games, which is under Take-Two. So yes, we'll see it at Take-Two. I think. I'm pretty sure about that. Anyhow. That does it for questions though from the Discord. Thank you everybody so much for sending those in. Let me get back to chat. And Mike, we could start wrapping this up if we don't have any other super chats.
A couple more came in.
Let's do it.
JR poll. You guys think those Microsoft acquisitions will happen?
We're iffy on them. I think that I wonder where a lot of that stuff was coming from. I don't know. That I never got firsthand like word on any of that stuff. I was always just relaying rumors, and I mean. It seems like a whole lot of smoke, but it also could be the kind of thing where that's the kind of smoke that they were deliberately blowing up during E3 to sort of, I don't know, misdirect people, or maybe it was very easy for people to, what happens a lot of times is is you say, I heard something, and you're talking to other people who are like insiders or whatever, and they say something similar, and then the circle starts to build, and then they go tell someone else, and then the things start wrapping back around on to people. And it's why you always have to be very careful about this information. And when you put it out there, because if it starts getting back to you from someone who's like a third party now, you're like, well, that's a confirmation. And it's not. It could be your own information getting back to you. And I've spoken about this before, but
your kid is going nuts. It's not that distracting, but they're breaking something.
Let me see if Discord or if my has noise removals on NVIDIA broadcast.
Oh, I'm not complaining about the noise. I'm just impressed.
Oh, yeah, it's just normally it should be completely, because they're so far away. It should be. They're playing with Legos.
I can't even every time I even try to make a Cucumber Kids, you're just self-conscious about the noise.
Yes, I am.
I just
worried
want to
about
know
it.
what they're doing.
They are playing with Legos with each other, and honestly, they're playing really nice. So I'm okay with it.
Are they? I don't believe that.
Compared to what they normally do, yes. Oh no, I'm talking about some. So now they're going to come over here and yell at me.
I don't know. Daniel Bradley had a good point about Final Fantasy, because we're talking about why are the Saga Frontier games still getting respect. He says the guy who made Saga is still at Square and has a lot of pull. The people from Final Fantasy 1 to 6 are all gone, so no one cares internally. Yeah, that makes sense, I guess. But Disney is still at Disney, or any of his family members, but Disney takes care of Mickey Mouse, right? You think that they would Square Enix be like, oh yes, Final Fantasy, that matters.
It is their Mickey Mouse. What is going on over there? I don't get it.
Good Morning Game says best guess for Nintendo's One More Thing. Gosh, if Mario Odyssey 2 is real, you would think that, but apparently it's a Donkey Kong game, so maybe it'll be that Donkey Kong game. I mean, it'd be weird to close with Breath of the Wild 2. They could.
Yeah. I don't know if they'll have one more thing. If they do, I think it'll be that Donkey Kong game. I think that is my best guess.
Yeah, best guess. Carlos Alvarado, will there be another sneak peek at the Halo campaign? They're going to show something eventually, right?
Yeah, they clearly will. They'll probably do it on the blog post or something, or then a YouTube thing. Also, I see Jordan in chat. What's up, Jordan French? How's it going, man? And of course, I lied about Starfield. Of course, I think that they will show stuff much closer to launch, because they want to get the game in a state where it will be very easy to piece together something that's easy to show to people, and that's going to be a game that is much closer to being ready for launch than what it is right now.
And last one for now, Sewer Link asks, which is more disappointing, the 3070 Ti price perf or Square Enix conference?
That 3070 Ti is pretty disappointing. I actually still need to post my review on that. I got it back there. It's
been keeping you busy.
I know, right? Yeah, it's just they always have such bad timing with that. They did the 3080 Ti during Memorial Day weekend, and then this one was right before E3. But I don't know, that 3070 Ti. There's no way that you can really effectively judge the worth of a graphics card right now, because if you go to try to buy one and they're all selling for $2,500, if you can get a 3070 Ti at MSRP, buy it. It's a good deal. In this world right now, it's actually a really good deal. The problem is being able to actually find it at MSRP. And that Square Enix was just, it was weird and boring and kind of baffling and confusing and disorienting. And Square Enix actually worse than the 3070 Ti price to performance.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Mike.
All right. I think that's that for this. We got tomorrow's slightly slower day. We have we have 2 third-party shows, nothing crazy like a Nintendo or a Microsoft. So maybe I'll take a little nappy nap even in the middle of the day and recharge my batteries. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll take it a little bit easier tomorrow. We'll still do one of these shows. We'll react. We'll react to what Capcom's going to do. I'm hoping that we're going to get really surprised by one of these companies with something big, so to really make that Monday worth it. Otherwise, it'll feel like kind of a disjointed E3. I thought going from Summer Game Fest on Thursday and then having to sort of wait with nothing happening on Friday and then having to wait till Saturday was kind of weird. So I hope we don't get another one of those. But we'll see. Okay, let's wrap this up. Everybody, thank you so much for listening. It was a really good show. Thank you all so much for the questions. They're really great. We will be back tomorrow with another episode and another one on Tuesday afternoon, and then we'll be off until Friday for our next regular episode after that. So tune back in. If you want, come hang out with us in the Discord. It's discord.gg/GameMess. You should be able to find that in the description. And if it's not there, it is in my bio on Twitter. All right, Mike, you want to plug anything? Should we want to tell any people to go read any stories we've written, or should we just get the hell out of here?
No, real quick, front pillar post. I'm gonna get this in here. How to look at the. I got to look at the big GameStop ad that is supposedly hinting at the new Nintendo Switch. What do you guys make of this? What is this chaos? Well, I think that they just actually mean you can get a new Nintendo Switch, not a new Nintendo Switch thing.
Right, as opposed to a used Nintendo Switch, right? Which is what
I don't know why
GameStop.
they capitalized new like that, but I don't.
Yeah,
think
because someone was not thinking. Yeah, that was pretty funny. That story.
I think the guy who put the Starfield trailer up. Hey, I'm Tokoto on Twitter. At TOLKOTO, and check out 90s Disney, my 90s Disney podcast at 90sdisney.com. And my brothers are coming over. We're gonna watch the Microsoft show because they missed it. I think we're gonna have margaritas. It's gonna be fantastic.
Well, that sounds nice. I'm gonna go lay down. I'm gonna go lay down on the floor. I think actually, I let them play.
Make it. We'll see. Yeah. I might pass out.
Yeah, good luck with that. Tell your brothers I said hi. We're gonna get out of here, everybody. Thank you so much for listening. Until next time, take care of yourself. Goodbye, and we'll see you then.
I